So I was 4 months old when we moved to Isokyrö. And my father wasn't a real farmer. He was all into the all kinds of hemosia osti ja myi rehu sitten feed and hay and all. So he sent them to Pohjois-Suomeen or northern Finland. He had a sort of I remember when I was a kid, so we moved to close to Tervajoki's asema, so he liked there, so he could send his whatever he sent all that heinä and olkia. I remember we were kids, we have to go always to the station to see how many railroad cars had come in. I guess there was a shortage of them, for he could send his vilja, or not the vilja, but the heinää ja olkia sinne. I don't know mitä niillä tehtiin. So then I went to school in own village there, but then to go to high school, it was shorter to go to Vaasa. I could take a train because a lot of people worked in Vaasa and they used that train. So there was a lot of us kids, we went to high school in Vaasa. Isokyrö had a high school, but it was 8-10 miles to go. And there was no buses or anything, so it was easier for us to go to Vaasa. We could take the train. And then I did the 5 years in Vaasa yhteiskoulu. And then I stayed home for a year. My dad had a stroke and mom could not handle it on her own, so I stayed home a year. And I didn't really know I was supposed to go some sort of a talouskoulu or what, some schooling more yet. But that didn't happen. Mom needed help at home. So then when my uncle came in, and like I said, he hired a lot of men. They actually
so your uncle was where? Your uncle was in Canada already?
What's that?
Was your uncle in Canada already then?
Yeah, my uncle came for a visit with his wife.
Oh, from Canada?
Yeah,
okay.
So there was a lot of men came to see him, and he hired a lot of men. He had 2 bush camps going, so Marta, my younger sister, she was more of a speaker so he said to Uncle, can we come? She said, sure, but there's a heavy work there. So I said, well, how are we gonna talk to the mom now? And my dad was sick in bed, he was paralyzed, he was only just turning, wasn't quite 50 when he had a stroke. He couldn't talk much, but he said to you, he tried to say that you go, he would have loved to come here 1928, but my older sister was born, and my uncle was saying they were planning that they're coming here, but then this poor times came here. So my uncle said, don't come, you got baby and no stay. So he never came. So when our opportunity came in, he was saying, you go. He would have loved to come, so he was pushing us, but mom wasn't happy about it. But so then we did decide, we came here for 2 years.
So what year was that?
1951 in December. Took for a few months to get papers. That time we had to go to the Canadian consular, and I think it was in Pietarsaari. I don't know why it was there, but that's we have to go. And so it was December before we came in. Our papers started in or beginning the August, I think. So it took months to get papers also. Then we came here and we flew out to Montreal.
Oh, Montreal.
I think it was in Montreal, and there was other Finn the whole, I think it was a sort of a charter flight. There was all of us immigrants, but there was nice guys. We were younger, so they were really, none of them are alive anymore. They were really like big brothers to us younger girls. So we always talk about that, how good those boys were. Both of them gone now, and they were 10, 15 years older than us, but they looked at us like a little sister. So we were all safe. And when we got to station here, my cousin was meeting us, and I guess he recognized us right away from pictures. And my uncle was living in Finnmark that time, so my cousin took us there. He was going to school here, so he drove us into Finnmark. And I always remember we thought, oh, what a country! They got such a nice lights on the roadside, but they were those posts that had
reflection.
Yeah. I thought, oh, they got all the little bit. It was middle of the night so we stayed at my uncle's that time at Finnmark, and that house has burned down. So now it was a big house, so there was not for us. But I don't know. Did you know Suokko? Elma and Veikko Suokko?
Yes.
Yeah. So my uncle, they came to my uncle's too. So there was 4 of us there, but their house was big house. So I was very thankful for my uncle years after, that he took us.
So what kind of work did you end up doing?
I went to the bush camp. He had 3 camps going. So we came in December, right at the New Year in '52. We went to the camp, so he was able to give us a work. And that time we made good money there too. And we were young and we had our own fun, and there was a lot of us immigrants. Finnhall was full of Somalaisia boys. So we had a good time.
That was on the weekends, right?
No, but
was there all there too?
No, but when like we went there in January and then came home in March, end of the March, so the Finnhall was full of us, so we had good time. Yeah, and we got the little 2 bedrooms, or one was a kitchen and a bedroom, and my sister and us, we made a home.
So did your sister stay here too then?
No, she stayed. She lives in Kingston right now.
Oh.
Yeah, she was younger and I 2 years younger, but she got married before me. And her husband was from Finland, but he was born in Quebec. He was related to Kangas sauna, that business, so he was Canadian citizen that way too. And so Marta and Hemo got married. We came in, what did I say, 52, and they got married in 53 but I was single. I worked in the different camps, and then I ended up going out there was a cook who went to work for Newego up in Hearst, that's what they call Mead. So she wants me to go there, and well, that's where I met my husband. And I remember seeing Hearst, I said, what a Rapakylä. We went with my friends, we went to Toronto, and that same year, and I went to Hearst, and there was a cook who wants me to go with her. And when I saw that Hearst, I thought, what a Rapakylä. Little did I know that. Actually, I didn't live in Rapakylä. Toivo's home was up in a farm, about 4 miles from the Hearst, and they had a good home there. But even this day, it's all clay, so there's that fine dust always. Even I could call it Rapakylä even now.
So how long did you work in Hearst then?
Boy. I can't really, but a couple of years, but that's where I met my husband then.
And were you married there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want a wedding. I
Oh.
said, no way, like we could have gone there. I said, no, I'm not gonna. But there, all those Finn guys, all he said, no, you have to have a wedding. I said, I'm not having a wedding. So quite a few came in there, so I came in, and that's where I got married. And then there was a Newbego company who had town sites. So there was I really had a good time there. There was about 12 families, and there was a company had a real nice rec home and one room school, and that one teacher, Mrs. Heath, she's the one who tried to teach English for me then. So that's about it. And then we moved in. Then I said, I'm not going to live out in Hearst, no way. But then we moved here in 59, I think, yeah. So I had there was a headquarter camp, so I worked there, and then, but I said, no, I'm not going to make a home here. So we end up, then we got the apartment, and then we got the lot where our house was built on Sunia Street. Corner was Sunia and Sunia Bay.
So did you still continue to work at bush camps here then, or were you done with bush camps?
No, then Toivo worked at the camp. He ended up working in the camp all the rest of it. He didn't like town work. He didn't care for it. Even when he was in bed, he would have loved to go for a ride out in the bush. Mm-hmm. He was a bushman all the way through. So, but then I went to work at LBH.
Okay.
So I was there 25 years.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what LPH is? Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I ended up with a really nice. I'm glad that I went there. Well, I didn't go right away. Joanne was for you were
Yes.
Joanne's teacher, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but Grandma moved here. So Grandma stayed with Joanne when she was still. I think she was in kindergarten. No, maybe not even in school. So we had a good time. Grandma had her own apartment, and she stayed with Joanne. Like Toivo always said, you don't go anywhere unless you get a good babysitter. So he was sort of in all his life, and Joanne, and they were like this, but I was more on the side. Yeah, so that's about it. And I'm happy that I had good friends. They're not often either. They're different nationality. One of my best friends, she's born here, but her background was Danish. So we went to Denmark, and she came to Finland with me, and so we traveled together a lot. Toivo liked traveling too, but then two of us went on our own too. I didn't always want to go, but he was always, where are we going to go now? That's about it. So now I'm alone. I've been widowed now. Toivo passed away October the 22nd. Yeah, this past year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he ended up in Roseview for a year. I would have looked after him at home, but his legs didn't keep him up. I have to have a ambulance, or I know then to phone a fireman. Always came and picked him up. He always said, don't phone. But I said, so then once I got so fed up, I said, here, he was laying in the bathroom floor. I put a pillow and a blanket, I stay there then if I cannot call. I cannot get you up. So he knew that, but he's been a stubborn Finlander. He just said, I get up. Once I get my elbows on something. Well, elbows didn't lift him up anymore. But I would have loved to look after him at home. He was easy to look after otherwise if the legs were yeah, so. And we sold our house 12, so 12, I think, yeah, we've been in my condo now for 8 years. So I'm happy that we did move. I wasn't gonna move from the house, but he said, I cannot look after the. I said, well, they come and do all, like we had a guy who came in, young man who came to do the lawn and all, but first bath, you know, when, well, they don't do this, they don't do that, and that wasn't up to, I said, well, too bad. So then that time was hard to get condos, and then we find this condo where I've been now, on Court Street, so it's not far from Safeway either. I'm happy in my condo, I got good friends there, and yeah, it's not far from Safeway.
Well, you've done fine so far.
Yeah. Joanne said to me something, I said, are you pushing me out from yours, pushing me into Roseville? I said, no, like Toivo was in a Roseville a year and a month. I would have loved to look after him at home, but his legs, he wasn't little man either, you know.
No, we know that.
Yeah, so I had firemen good a few times, and there was ambulance too at sometimes. So I would have loved to have him at home, but he was in Roseville over a year. And
so do you have any special events, special memories that sort of are highlights that you like to think about?
Highlight in our marriage?
Well, anything like that's happened, you know,
No,
in your life here in Canada?
No, not really.
Nothing, yeah.
We travel a lot. So those were the highlights.
Right.
Yeah, we went to Hawaii a couple of times, and Barbados, and he always was on the go, let's go. We went to, why did we went to Venezuela? We were there too. Somewhere always, so. Life is interesting, and even now I'm alone, but I have, even yesterday, a couple of friends took me out, and today one phoned, you need a ride, I said, well, I'm gonna give up my car pretty soon, and so I said, I will have, and Joanne was even home today, this morning, and on the way to work. So it's good to have, if you haven't got anybody, it's hard, but she looks after good. And she got along really good with her dad, but we are too much like it, so we we don't see eye to eye always.
Sometimes happens with mothers and daughters.
Yeah, and she always was more of the father's girl, even if she needs something, she would go to him. We were too much alike. Yeah, but I love him very dearly, and he's very good to me. So that's about my life story.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and
you're welcome.
It was a pleasure to hear it.
Yeah, my life wasn't that interesting.
Everybody has a story.
Yeah. I do miss him very dearly. I take his picture. Why did you let me here alone? I have his picture in a coffee end table there. Even
so
yesterday.
You have a conversation everywhere.
Yeah. But and he was born in Hearst. So all his brother, one brother was in close to North Bay, another one was in Timmins. The sister lived close to London, Ontario, but they're all gone. She was the youngest one. She was 10 years younger than Toivo, but she passed away a year ago too. So we didn't have no relatives here.
Right.
And his family wasn't that big, no. So that's about it. So who knows how long I'm kicking.
Well, you still did pretty well coming down that hill with your cane.
Yeah. Were there a lot of Finnish people in Hearst?
Well, when he was born, there was like all the neighbors there, they were Finn.
Oh.
But of course, what was there to work? Bush work and all that.
Right.
So some of them went to school, and not like Toivo said, he was allowed to go to school, but they couldn't afford to send them to Kapuskasing. So he made his life, and I must say, I'm not bragging about, but he was a very good husband and provide us well. just as, you know, that we always had bread on the table. And then there were friends, there was a lot of friends, so Toivo was bilingual. He went to school bilingual, but he lost a lot of, like, here he didn't speak, but we went on a trip out to East Coast and we stopped in Quebec somewhere, and the guy saw Ontario plate on we had a camp trailer, and he ran after us. I said to Toivo, there's a man running after us, old little man, and he waved, and so Toivo stopped. And he used to work up in Long Lake.
Oh.
And so he wasn't let us go. He had such a good memories from Long Lake. And we were sort of looking at the time that, well, he was yeah, so you never know where you meet people.
That's right.
Yeah.
The world is large and the world is small.
What's that?
The world is large and the world is
Yeah,
small.
yeah, you're so right. Yeah, where were we at? And Toivo came here and said, you don't believe it. I don't know where we were in. Barbados, I guess, and where our hotel, or it was sort of a village where we were. So he went right to the Bridgetown then, and he came back. I said, you don't know who I saw, and then he told me who was somebody who worked with the Great Lakes too. So no matter where you go, you always meet somebody. Yeah. So well, life was interesting. So.
And you're still keeping busy.
I'm not doing really too much anymore. And
Well, you get out and
yeah,
and
but
you
I
do
never
things.
was a real, like I remember when we were young, and like I had two sisters, and the youngest one was a brother, but my two sisters, they were always involved with some nuorisoseura. They always had some plays or something.
Young people's
I
groups.
used to say that, well, everybody else goes anywhere, I don't go anywhere. And that's the way I've been all my life, that I never been a really seura-ihminen that way.
Yeah.
I have lots of friends, but I never been involved with doing
That's what
it.
I mean, that you do have, you find people to be with and
Oh my gosh,
and,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, even yesterday I was out all day with a couple of girls, and now they left. They went. Where the heck did they go? Somewhere they travel all the time. So there was a girl across the street. We really got to be like, she was Danish background, so that we traveled to Denmark and Finland, and we traveled a little bit in Germany, Holland. So you always find people. Like Sunia Street at the far end of Sunia, there wasn't too many Finns. There were more beginning to Sunia. So, but Joa, when you were here,
That's right,
yeah,
that's
Joa
right.
went to Van Chapman. Yeah. Yeah, so that's about my life story.